How do I use this? Day one with your students. Have an orientation day to the Math Map. You might find it helpful too. Day one for us was all about learning how to read or use the Math Map. The day before you teach your kids out of the Math Map, take a moment to orient yourself and read all of the top boxes. The heading Lesson Overview means Math Map How To. Those are on pages 1 through 7 and 8 through 16. The middle boxes are lessons. The bottom boxes are examples for week 29, which I will discuss later in the video. So day one for us was all about learning how to use the Math Map. So this is my breakdown of orientation day. Firstly, I got a visual timer for our Math Map time. This is mine. It is completely silent and the beeper can be switched to silent. They loved having a visual for the time left for math because after math, we had snack time and recess. I usually set my timer for 35 minutes, which includes 5 to 8 minutes of note card, flashcard time. I call it note cards, but it's flashcard time. I use my phone timer for the flashcards. Then I introduce them to the flashcards. We have not used flashcards for math in our homeschool, so this was a new concept for us. I told my students that we would go through 5 to 15 flashcards a day. On our first day, we went through about 5. By day 4, we went through 15. All of these 0 plus a number cards. And our first week went really well with these. I like flashcards. That really helps warm up the day. Next, I had them hold their closed booklet. I told them that each booklet will have a page of art on the front and that on our first day of our math week, we will attend to this art for 5 minutes. I learned this tip from another mom. Don't spend a lot of time on this art. They will see it year after year, so you don't have to be thorough and deep your first time around. Literally, just, what do you see? Open your cover page to the inside. I told them, here's an essay, but I will pick 1 or 2 sentences to point out and tell them about. Now let's look at the next page. It looks like a Girl Scout cookie order form, but it was helpful to tell them that the colorful boxes on top are called domains. And this is why your booklet is not pink like your sister's. Sorry, but purple is a fun color too. You know, I had them identify which domain they were in. We recited our domain, integers, digits. What domain are you in? Turn the page again. And this was where most of us had our first Math Map mental breakdown. Understandably so. We all had heart attacks on this page. All you need to tell them is that these Invention and Memoria and arrangement pages will come in handy later. But let's take a quick look and point out things you already know or recognize on these pages. These pages will help you arrange what you have memorized and to make connections between math grammar you are learning. So please don't let these pages cause anxiety. This is just the big picture of the puzzle. You do not memorize these pages up front. This is like the big picture on the box lid of a puzzle. We will learn and study each little puzzle piece throughout the year, but it's the grand scheme of things. Okay, moving on. Pages 1 through 7. We can flip past for orientation. Then I tore out my C pages and my S pages. C stands for chart, S stands for solutions. I told them that these are charts and solutions that we will use as we learn. You don't need to let these pages cause anxiety either. This is not for them to memorize. Then we turned all the way to the back to what says I-4. It might be considered page 17. It's at the very end. It's page I4. I either stands for information or index, not sure. Okay, so I4, aka 17, I told them that this is our assessment page that we will do together at the first until we get the hang of the math map. Tip: the night before you do this page, make sure that you have covered the grammar listed on this page. So grammar, grammar, grammar. To find out how I actually start with that page for my weekly lesson planning, check out this video where I discuss 3 tips on using the math map. But here's a quick tip now. Before you plan to do this page, make sure you have covered the grammar listed on that page. Then at the very end of our math map week, on the back cover, we have a math game that we can play together. Then I introduced them to the Math Map Journal, what I call the journal, also known as Week 29, Seeing the Unseen. This is simply a journal we can write in all year as we spot things we are learning about in math while we're out and about. And all the boxes in week 1, the bottom boxes of week 1, are all examples of math out and about that you can write in your journal. They're simply examples. So I did not read each one of those bottom boxes to my kids. They asked about a picture or two, and we just looked at it and then went on. Last, as an FYI for you, lead learner, at the bottom box on the last page, the cover page right here, you will see a list of resources for next week. These are items you might use for next week's Math Map journey. So you might want to glance at that and see if there's anything on there that you don't have on hand so that you can purchase it ahead of time. And that was my orientation that I had with my kids day 1. After I did this orientation, we actually did have some time left over on my timer to look at our first lesson. So I was like, okay, good, we're doing great. So I looked at our first lesson box on page 1 and started to read that middle box. All the middle boxes are lessons. And that was when I learned that I cannot just read the box with littles. It was too much. And I might have had that Math Map meltdown because many of us are really experiencing that. So I did what everybody does and tried to YouTube it. And since there was nothing, I felt a calling to help the other crying mothers out there. So coming up next, I'll show you how we memorized the Math Map grammar for week 1 with songs and signs to make math fun. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and let me know you want some Math Map videos. Thanks for watching and have fun learning.